What is our focus? What do we intend to do? In CITN, we are interested in changing the narrative of the country, a mono-economic country. We want Nigeria to follow the pathway of developed countries, whereby you make use of tax revenue to develop the country. Doing that alone has enormous benefit for the country. Try and nurture the taxpayer you want tomorrow. Behave like the account officer in the bank. I'm a nano businessman and I have account with bank B or bank C or bank whatever. And the account officer, because my success is also a function of his promotion, is interested in my prosperity. So he advised me, okay, we have this product. If you know you can take this loan and you take this advantage from the market, we will support you, but ensure you pay. And once you take the loan, it also follows through. So we want the revenue authority in Nigeria that will nurture the taxpayer that they will collect money from tomorrow. If you are not able to collect today, don't kill that taxpayer. So sanitizing the tax space, making the taxpayer the king, protecting his interests, partnering with him in the journey along, we help the system. We are going to a level whereby it will be difficult for the taxpayer to lie. In fact, what I'm envisaging, or what is in the pipeline, that it won't even be within the capacity of the taxpayer to lie.
Today, we'll be having a chat with the president of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, CITN, the 16th president, Barrister Samuel Agbeluyi, who assumed office in June 2023. Barrister Agbeluyi, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. It is my pleasure.
Good to have you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, it's been a year since you assumed office as the 16th president of the CITN. How far so far? What are your achievements? Well,
thank you very much. So far, so good. It's been eventful, and I can only thank God for the opportunity to serve the amazing tax professionals in Nigeria. We started with my inferior, which was a great success. I talk about the inferior because it is important when we improve on our program. The essence is to make sure that we create awareness. Inferior is not about the president, it's not a personality issue, but about the institute. The idea of making the inferior that way is to ensure that we create awareness. We want many people to know CITN and what we stand for, and we did that. It was a success, and almost immediately thereafter, we continued with our relationship, strategic relationship with Annan. We had our joint retreat program, council retreat program in Abuja, where we addressed press conference, addressing burning national issues. You will agree with me, that was the current government came in late May last year, and I came into the office in June. So specifically July, we had a strategic council retreat with Annan, and we addressed the general public as to some of the pending issues. And some of those issues are still with us as we speak. But taxation is economics, has a very strong base in economics. And to that extent, we can't talk about the economy of Nigeria without talking about taxation. Neither can you talk about taxation without the economy of the country. Some of the major decisions that the government at national level has made had direct impact on people. And taxation has played a major role in the discussion in the past 1 year or thereabout. And we have featured remarkably, if I may say that, in this whole process. with the institute led by my humble self. We've been called to National Assembly on a number of occasions to make our contribution to national issue, and we have done that very well. We appreciate the leadership of the National Assembly for carrying people along in their decision-making process or law-making process. That we have done. And of course, we ended the year on a glorious note. Our second induction program for the year 2023 took place, and we had for the first time in recent years induction of 1,057 people who joined the institute. It was a major program. Thereafter, we had our annual dinner. An annual dinner, the special guest of honor happens to be the governor of the Jigawa state. And so we ended last year on a glorious note. Our advocacy was top notch. We tried to make sure that we make comment or give advice as and when necessary, because the new government is trying to do a lot of things within a short space of time. And so we have made ourselves available in that regard. So we ended 2023 on a good note. 2024 we started again on a strategic note. We look at the budget 2024. We spoke specifically to the financial aspect, financial in the area of fiscal and tax policy. The members of CITN under my presidency have been picked, appointed as member of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform set up by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, specifically August 2023. Now, my humble self, I'm a member of that committee, and we have tried to make sure that everything we have suggested to the country over the years, all the seminar, all the communique coming out of our programs, we avail the committee our write-up, our position, so that we could get better as a country. So that we have done, and so we started 2024 with the analysis of the budget, and we told the government what we felt should be done. And prominent, because no matter how technical you want to be, no matter how you want to make the task simple or sophisticated as the case may be, the other end that is very critical to the taxpayer is that the government must make good use of whatever is paid as tax. We have not relented in any form, making sure that we tell the government, the political leaders, as to the reason why people will pay more when they have the confidence of the government, that government will use whatever is given to them in their favor. That is very critical, and we have kept on saying this. So that was January, and as we move into the year 2024, specifically from February, we got arising from previous relationship, not necessarily initiated by me, but by my predecessors in the office. And if I may say, specifically under the simplest administration, we started a kind of relationship with Gambia Revenue Authority. That came into fruition early this year, where the authority in Gambia sent their personnel to us for training in 3 batches, looking at change management, tax administration, oil and gas, audit assignment and exercise. So all those we did early this year, and we are very grateful to the authority in Gambia. It only speaks to the fact that CITN is not only recognized in Nigeria, but even across the border. As I speak to you, we have a discussion ongoing with Tanzania Revenue Authority. We have discussion going on with some of our colleagues in Kenya. Hopefully, before the year runs out, we do something meaningful in that direction. And so we move on in the course of the year, and our major program in this institute is the annual tax conference. We did very well. I'm happy to announce that we crossed the 3,000 mark in terms of attendance and in terms of participation by stakeholders, because over the years we've always been saying this, that as a foremost professional institute in the country, we can't afford to keep on talking to ourselves. We need the policy maker, we need the decision makers across the country to also be part of our discussion, so that implementation of whatever comes out of our conference will make sense, and we won't need a lot of explanation to make if they are part of the discussion. And so I'm happy that as a follow-up to various felicitations we have made to stakeholders across the country, the governor of Sokoto State was in the annual tax conference. The representative of the governor of Kogi State was there. The deputy governor of Borno State was there. The special advisor on tax and revenue matters, Lagos State, represented the governor of Lagos State, and the former governor of Ogun State, Senator Ibikunle Amosu, was also there. And they were not just there, they brought their practical experience in government to the conference. And that is very critical, because what the benefit of that is to close the gap, the information or the knowledge gap between the leaders and the led. Sometimes the way the followers perceive the government or government officials is like they are from another planet. We are all Nigerians, and we need to do a lot of talking to ourselves. We need to listen to ourselves. In terms of attendance, we had a new record. In terms of participation of leaders, not just tax professionals alone, but leaders across the country attending, political leaders for that matter. It was a major success, and we surmounted what would have been a major crisis regarding the venue of the annual tax conference, whereby barely a month before the conference, the Honorable Minister for Federal Capital Territory decided to do something about the International Conference Center Abuja, the venue we have chosen for the conference. But I've always told people, we have fantastic members in the institute. They rose up to the occasion. They rallied around the leaders, and we got another venue. So the impact of what would have marred the conference was minimal. We rose to the occasion, and we did very well. I'm very proud of members of this our great institute, because the way they supported the leaders of the institute with suggestions and ideas, I can't thank them enough. So we have had that. Apart from these governors coming to our conference, we have visited them. We were in Sokoto, well received by His Excellency, the governor of Sokoto, Dr. Aliyu. We were in Jigawa. And for your information, the governor of Sokoto State is a member. That of Jigawa is also a member. We have visited him. We have visited another member who is the governor of Kogi State. So, and we are also on the move to see some other governors, political leaders who are members of the institute. About 2 months ago, we were in Nassau Rock. We visited the vice president, who has a fantastic knowledge of the way we should go tax-wise in this country. You know, you labor less when you speak to a knowledgeable person. People, and I need to say this, because of the way we are perceived our leaders, sometimes we don't give credit to them. Most often than not, we condemn or criticize them. Our meeting with the Vice President, Senator Setima, was an hope-inspiring visit, if I could say that, because it demonstrated the knowledge that we know, teaming up with the president, they have the capacity to move this country forward. So those are the basic things we have done in the past 1 year. I have some other area in terms of our relationship or building or working on the tax profession itself. Tax profession as a discipline, distinct discipline of its own. As we speak, we are collaborating with the Federal Inland Revenue Service to ensure that taxation is introduced as a subject in WAEC. That job is reaching advanced stage, and the essence of that is to catch them young. Let the young ones know what is taxation, even from secondary school. Most of us got to know anything about taxation in our tertiary education, and it was because I studied accounting, and so it was part of what was discussed. But nobody told me anything about taxation when I was in secondary school, except the sparing mention of taxation in economics. So now we want to make taxation a course, a subject in WAEC, so that people, young ones, can be made to know. And of course, that is a preparation of the new or the young generation to become a responsible adult when they grow up. We are also in collaboration with some other tertiary institutions. A lot of them are also introducing taxation. Yaba College of Tech, the cradle of higher institutions in the country, I'm proud to be an alumnus of that great polytechnic. They have just introduced taxation. So it speaks to the fact that beyond what we see in CITN, even in the academic, as represented by National Union of University Commission, the National Board of Technical Education, they have seen the need to make sure that taxation is a profession and it's a standalone profession, because it is actually the future of this country, because it has been the bedrock of any developed nation. So Nigeria, we want to develop, do the right thing about taxation, make it simple, make it attractive, and of course, be accountable. Once you are accountable, once you are transparent with whatever you collect from government, from the taxpayer rather, then I tell you, Nigeria will be a great place to live in. Thank you.
You spoke about the challenge that the Institute faced in the run-up to the 26th Annual Tax Conference. Would like to know if there is any other challenge you encountered apart from this you mentioned, and how you've been able to handle them.
A professional institute like CITN has structure, and that is very comforting. And you don't just become the president overnight. You go through the structure. And as you lead the structure, you still have people supporting you. I have fantastic council members who are very alive to their responsibility. I have dependable body of past presidents who will always check on you, give you good counsel, advise you as you may require, allow you to flourish the way you need. But when it is very important, they also come up with wise counsel. So that has been a major strength for me as an individual, and I think that's the strength of this institute. Should there be any issue that come up, you get counsel from across the country and even outside the country from our members. So that has been a major strength. We also, in the course of the year, we have a kind of challenge from our sister professional body, ICANN, It's been a moment whereby what we felt we have concluded or settled keeps on coming up again. We've had MOU with ICANN, midwife by the Association of Professional Bodies of Nigeria, as to how we relate and where you draw the line. In addition to that, we've had MOU midwife by Federal Inland Revenue Service as to how to cooperate, how to draw the line, and how we move the country forward. But again, life is what it is. So we've had a kind of not too good experience coming from that our sister professional body. But we believe we'll be good. We believe we are talking, and we believe at the end of the day, the right thing will be done. And we all, because what is our focus? What do we intend to do? In CITN, we are interested in changing the narrative of the country, a mono-economic country. We want Nigeria to follow the pathway of developed countries, whereby you make use of tax revenue to develop the country. Doing that alone has enormous benefit for the country. I'll give an example. There's a direct correlation between a tax compliant environment and democracy. Once the people pay what they are supposed to pay, they have all the moral and legal rights to hold the government accountable. And of course, their participation in democracy is not secondary. So, beyond the revenue in the cover of the government, it is also key to ensure that Nigeria is a tax compliance country, so that we all be alive to our democratic obligations. So these are what we are interested. Some years back, under President Barr's regime, NIPC was not bringing money to the national cover. It was FRS, Federal Inland Revenue Service, that rose to the occasion. And FRS have been doing very well ever since. Last year, I think they made 12.3 trillion. Their target for 2024 is 19.8 trillion. That is making sure that despite the general kind of downturn worldwide, economic-wise, FRS has risen to the occasion, and they have the capacity to do more. And that is why we should all be expectant of the report coming out of this Presidential Committee, so that once the government show enough commitment, political will, to implement the report, then of course Nigeria will be on the trajectory to become a great nation.
The institute has been growing from strength to strength. Would like to know, what is the current status of the institute?
By virtue of the great numbers of people who showed interest in becoming members of the institute in the past 1 year or thereabout, we have crossed the 29,000 membership base. And we, from the projection we have, from the application even within the system, we see the institute possibly in the next 6 months or thereabout crossing the 30,000 membership base. That is what we have. And of course, knowing that taxation, like I said before, stand on a tripod of economics, law, and accounting. So the multidisciplinary nature of taxation has helped us greatly. The lawyers have a lot of role to play in taxation. Of course, taxation follows economics. Without economic activities, there's nothing you call taxation. So we have the tripod, and we have people who are purely economists, but we bias for taxation. We have lawyers, we bias for taxation, and we have accountants, we bias for taxation. The margin of these three legs has helped us greatly, and that is why CITN is actually able to contribute to the development of the country we call Nigeria.
How does a member of the CITN acquire practice license and the seal and the stamp? What are the requirements, and of course, what are the benefits?
To have the seal and stamp, you must first of all be a member. And once you are a member and we look at your experience, you must, as a matter of importance, you must have 18 months training. You must have understudied somebody who has been in tax practice for 18 months. And once you are done with that, and you want to have your own practice license, you will require to have an attestation confirming the fact that you have gone through that training beyond your certificate, the practical training, because we have members who will never be interested in practicing taxation. We have members in the academy, we have the members in the internal revenue services and services across the country, and we have members even in federal internal revenue service. But should you elect to be a tax consultant and you need our practice license, you will need to have minimum 18 months of training, on the job training, so that to know your efficiency in what we are talking about. So you get letter of attestation. Of course, for you to get any benefit from the institute, you must be a financial member. That is the blood that we use to run the institute. So once you have that, then you can apply for your practice license and stamp. And once that is done, you don't even take it for granted that you are qualified. We do a kind of training so that we bring you on board as to what is expected of you. Because the moment we give you that practice license, the institute's image and integrity is at stake. So you must know your obligation to the client, you must know your obligation to the institute, you must know your obligation to the country. I'll give you an example. It is not enough to love your client and hate the country. So you must strike the balance. You don't aid your client to evade tax, and you think you are a good tax professional. It is simple to blame the government. But what are we doing in our little corner? So we let you know before we hand over that practice license to you that your obligations to various stakeholders are very important, and you must have your eyes on the ball so that you don't fail. It's not about the institute alone, it's not about your client alone, it's not even about Nigeria alone. There are other stakeholders, journalists like you. You need the right information, and that must be provided. It is by doing that that the country can be proud of those of us who are tax professionals. And we are happy that we'll be doing that, and we are ready to do more.
Still to come. For up-to-date information and education on taxation, please subscribe to our YouTube channel.